Hi folks, Kevin here. Well, it's time for another large pile composting update. And a couple of things that I'll mention. One, I'll talk about the comfrey, how effective that has been. Two, I added some more compost or more material to the pile. And three, there's a little bit of aerial drone footage showing over the pile, trying to give you the scope or the size of the system. And at the end of the video, I'm going to include some video footage from my GoPro Hero 5 camera system that's on a gimbal. And I hooked that onto the tractor for the first time yesterday. That's the Optimus Prime, my turd turner, not related to Tina Turner. Okay, that wasn't so funny. But anyways, so at the very end of the video today, there's some very boring, but I'm putting it on there so if anyone's got suggestions, I got to figure out a better way to mount it so you get a better perspective. Any suggestions people have about that, because what I'm trying to do with all of the different video series that we're doing here is trying to document, you know, from a first person's perspective and over time chronologically how the changes are occurring, what's being done bit by bit. It's not nearly as entertaining as Casey Neistat's videos. So anyways, back here, the pile, it was right over here in this line here where it still looks moist. Yesterday I turned this pile. There's the horseradish pile. So I had moved it last week, just over 2 weeks ago, from this spot to here. So what's happened? A few days after posting that video, Howard called me up from Purpose Farm, where I get a lot of the manure from. He said, geez, I've got some more. I went down and got about 10 yards, just over 1.5 loads. He had some other building supplies he was getting rid of, so I picked that up. One of those garden swing things I picked up as well, and some bicycle parts that I'll use for constructing some of the things that I'm building on site. But anyways, called me up, I went over, picked up the material, lots of rocks in it. 50% of it still had a lot of the dirt in it. The other 50% was some recent manure. So I put that, if you can imagine, that pile was over here. I put it along, that way is east, this way is west. So I took 1 yard buckets and put it along the west side of the pile that was there. I didn't bother turning it or trying to incorporate it into the center of it at all. But I wanted to see how well things are working. Now back when I first started recording this series, I went ahead and you saw we went out into the first food forest area. We gathered up a bunch of comfrey. Many videos have talked about how that really fires up a compost pile. I didn't experience that. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It probably does work, but it didn't work in this circumstance. The highest temperatures we've achieved are probably just over 125, maybe 128 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not getting up to speed. It hasn't gone anaerobic, and the material is breaking down. I'm going to turn the camera around, we'll take a look. So although it's quite gradual, the chunks, and it's easier to see in the video, so there's still these large chunks of material in here, which are dirt and the hay and straw mixed together that the horses probably had trampled on, and it's still very wet. So the stuff that was on the bottom of this pile still was far greater than 50% moisture content, and our goal is to get it around 50% or so. So we're probably pretty close to that at this point. But at least at this time, and you can see lots of the fungi, the big chunks are breaking down into much smaller particles. You could still see a lot of the mother material, so there's small wood shavings, materials in there, but even when my compost is what I would say finished, where it's been thermophilically broken down through aerobic management of a large compost pile, the material still has rather visible components of some of the original material, but it's been up to temperature, it's killed all the weed seeds, and it's ultimately destroyed any pathogens as well. Now, I don't suspect that there's any pathogens in this material, but there certainly are weed seeds in here as well. So a lot of the material was like this big chunky stuff that rolls off the top of the pile, but it is breaking down. We'll see if the temperature comes up in this in the next week or two. Otherwise, I'll be turning it again, and it'll be pretty much a similar update. So will there, if we don't get it up to temperature, could there still be some potential pathogens? Could there still be weed seeds? Here you can see a little bit here, some of the fungi, the fruiting bodies coming up here. So that's it for this latest update on the large pile composting system. I've missed my opportunity. Usually 4 to 6 weeks it's gone through the whole process, and I can start building a new garden bed or start amending the other garden beds. There's beds over there in the gardens that needed it. Certainly this will probably make it for the time for our high tunnels that we're going to be building, that we're going to be setting up for winter for extended season growth. But it is concerning that it's taken so darn long. But that's life. You know, we deal with these challenges as opportunities. So I'm learning through the process. So the first attempt with the comfrey didn't work. Adding more manure to it really hasn't, per volume, it's a small amount. I thought I'd get some real hot spots, but it got to about 128. And you know, it is breaking down, it is decomposing, it isn't going anaerobic. So those are good things. So just one of life's challenges. So stay tuned if you want to see what the GoPro gimbal sort of half-baked idea, the way that I hooked it up onto the tractor. The tractor vibrates. It's an old tractor. It's over 40 years old. So thanks so much for watching, folks. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.